Word. Okay. Welcome everyone. We have our fire chief with us tonight, Lenny. So I'm going to share his proposed budget and we'll talk through it. Um, Lenny, thanks for joining us. This is, I think, at least your second year in a row talking to us about budgets. Probably third,
Third.
right? Third, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we've got a couple of new members of the committee, and this you're the first of our department heads that we've met with this budget season. So um, I'll just say for the benefit of the new members that this is kind of an opportunity for us to have department heads walk us through their proposed budget, um, kind of give any important sort of rationale for why they're projecting the amounts they are for various lines, gives us a chance to ask any kinds of clarifying questions, and then we will let it go for the night. So that's the plan. I'll also just say that one of the things you'll notice about I think pretty much most budgets that we're going to review with department heads is that there are not we're just looking at their um, other than personnel expenses. So the kind of things like salaries and um, COLA increases, those get those are obviously determined by the personnel board's policy. So we'll see those later in the year, but we typically don't see the salary portion of these budgets since there's not really much to discuss there. So that's the explanation for that. So Lenny, do you want to just kind of walk us through your FY 27 proposed budget? And
Yes. Well,
yeah.
well, I know the meeting. I know the meeting we had the other week about the town basically is broke. So, I could easily add several thousand to each one of those lines and put it to good use. But I know
Mhm.
that's not what you guys would like. So,
Yeah.
I figure I can do it even board for this year, for next
Mhm.
year.
Mhm.
And my issue here, it's my personnel costs are hard for me to figure out
Mhm.
because if we do a quick thing, I should have. Uh, um, let me let me just go to one of the warrant payroll warrants. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4. So right now we have 7 firefighters, not including myself.
Mhm.
And if I get new firefighters and they go do a lot of training, that can obviously eat up the budget.
Mhm.
If I do seven firefighters and we do tw basically 50 training Thursdays a year
Mhm.
times 50 equals at 3 hours per training
Mhm.
is $1,050 times the hourly rate of $23 gets me to 24,000 just for training. Uh, that's without any first responder. That's without any um, Franklin Six or Mass Fire Academy hours. So, and it's mostly also the call wages because again, some years we've had a lot of calls and some years we haven't had many. It's hard to predict when somebody's going to call 911.
Mhm.
Several years ago, we had 180 calls, and if we had just say on average, say 180
Mhm.
times, say we have 4 people show up at a 3 hours each times three, that's 2,100 hours times $23. That gets me to 49,000 for call wages, possibly. So that's kind of basically why I upped the wages a little bit, just so I don't have to ask you like towards the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I don't have any money to train people for this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Or okay, maybe we can't, maybe I'll pick and choose who gets to go to the call, and that's something I don't want to do. So that's basically why I upped it a little bit for the trainings and the call wages.
Okay. So I think you've done some, you kind of walked us through some math that I think is helpful for our committee to just be
Yeah.
aware of. So on the training line, the so you essentially hold a training day a week. Did I understand that
Y-
correctly? Is that kind of the
Yeah.
same?
Yes, pretty much we train every Thursday night for about 3 to 3.5 hours. And
Mhm.
then also there's first responder training that we have to do.
Okay.
That can be whenever evenings on the week, or could be every other Saturday for like a month.
Mhm.
We did a live fire car burn last weekend, so that was about 5 hours on Saturday for everybody.
Okay.
So we do extra stuff. I'm pretty sure you guys kind of whatever I spend one year, you kind of carry it over to the next year. At least that's what I kind of feel like you guys did the last several years.
Hmm.
I know you upped it when I asked for the 3 hour minimum,
Right.
and I was just snuck in one year. I was just basically just below what you guys gave me for that year.
Hmm.
And I'm just kind of like, if we get more calls than that year, we're going to be over it.
Right.
So,
So yeah, I'm looking, it looks like on the training wages, um, so we've been budgeted at 27,000 for last year. And let's see,
That's for this year, AJ, right? At 27,000?
sorry, for the current year. Yeah, exactly. Uh, prior to that, so FY 25, actually, and FY 25, you were budgeted at 27,000, but your actual spent was, looks like 25, no,
26.
yeah, yeah, 26,000. Okay. And then I'm looking, FY 24 actual was 22.5. FY 23 was 21.4. And then uh, actual for 22 was 19.3. Okay. All right. So I think kind of one thought I had here was I wonder if it would be a reasonable request for us to hold this training line level from last year with the understanding that you're gonna operate the department exactly like you need to. And if at some point this year it turns out that I don't know, you've got greater attendance at trainings or more trainings are scheduled and you end up exceeding that $27,000 budget, we would obviously have some recourse to give you to make a transfer to accommodate that need. But um, given that it doesn't look like we've exceeded that $27,000 budget. I haven't actually looked at the FY 25 actuals. I suppose we could do that.
It's right there.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. No, I meant the
26 actual.
26, which of course we're in. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I guess given all of that, I'm wondering if you think it might be reasonable to actually for both the training and the call wages lines to maybe leave those level with an understanding that you could come to us if you end up exceeding those lines. And again, the message I think would be operate the department the way you have and don't make any adjustments on account
Yeah.
of these budgeted amounts. Would that, does that strike you as a reasonable
I think
request?
yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Mhm.
Pretty much like I can't control when somebody comes to drill or take 6 months off
Right.
and goes to go through there. I have taken several people off the roster just because they were in college and it doesn't seem like they're going to be coming back.
Right.
So that's why it's down to 7 now. I might get 1 or 2 new people shortly.
Mhm.
So it's kind of that part's out of my control. I mean, I really
Sure.
wish we had over 10 people on the department because if I'm out for training somewhere or, anything, it's like sometimes there's not really anybody in town to respond. So um that's my, you know, that's my 2 cents there. So it's not easy having the town always 100% coverage. It's pretty difficult sometimes. And I really wish we did. I wish I had more people in the department personally, but that's all.
Yep. And that that number of 7 firefighters, how does that compare to sort of recent history in terms of how many folks we've carried
It's
on?
it's pretty low, but all the members are fairly active.
Mhm.
So we've had up to like probably like 13 members on the department, but you could
Mhm.
probably pick almost 5 of them that would hardly ever make trainings and ever make calls.
Right.
So at least the 7 that's on now are all really active. So
Gotcha. Okay. Susie, I see your hand up.
I looked on the current, as of November 16th, and 33% of training wages have been spent.
Okay. All right.
yeah. Okay.
That's helpful. All right. So
So yeah,
the other suggestion I had was I actually thought there might be um, um, a rationale for keeping the training and call wages lines level for now, but giving a slight boost to your maintenance. Maybe you could talk us a little through that line because it looks like that got overspent by a decent amount, and I'm wondering if there was anything unusual last year or if that line might be actually underfunded given the realities.
it would be more money on maintenance. Maintenance would be nice. I mean, I would put it to good use. So fiscal year 2025, the engine 2 failed the pump test for a number of reasons. And so I had to send it out to down to Rhode Island for
Mhm.
like 3 weeks to get the pump worked on. And
Right.
that was like a $10,000 or $11,000 bill.
Okay. Yeah.
And Gabe ran it through. I think when I got the bill, it was like last February, I think,
Hmm.
or maybe January. I don't know exactly when, but around that time frame.
Hmm.
And Gabe ran it through as a special request, and she made it happen.
I see.
As for this year for maintenance, I kind of scheduled a lot of the maintenance to get it done and over with in the beginning of the fiscal year rather than scramble at the end.
Hmm.
And again, engine 2 needed a fair amount, both engine 2 and engine 1 needed a fair amount of extra work outside the actual service. And that's why those bills are a little higher than normal. And that's why my maintenance is almost spent for the year. That's as of right now. I don't anticipate next year being that bad,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you when the fire truck's going to break, you know. So, yeah.
Okay.
I think Susie's got her
AJ,
hand
I
up
have
still.
Oh,
some numbers.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so 91% of the maintenance budget is spent for FY 26.
Got it.
33% of the training budget and 52% of the call wages has been spent. So this occurred to me as we're
Mhm.
sitting here. Maybe I can prepare those kind of numbers for everybody's budget so you see where they are.
Mhm.
Because we are finishing this, we're just starting the 6th month of our budget. Is that right? August.
Um,
Yeah, just starting number 6. So
Yeah.
that gives you a idea of
Yeah.
what the spending is.
Yeah, that's good. That's good information. And I guess there's generally a little bit of a lag, right, on the spending and on some of those lines. So, okay.
So I just need to check with Lenny. Are you expecting, because you did a lot of the maintenance up front, was there anything else you were thinking you were going to attempt on maintenance this year?
Yeah, I was going back and forth. I was trying to get, it would be nice if I can get the power inverters installed in some of the trucks. I have to get a quote from a guy.
Mhm.
I don't know if I could sneak a little bit of that in from the equipment line item because it's kind of half equipment, half maintenance in a way.
Mhm.
Um, I would like to eventually move a lot of the gas engines and take them off the fire trucks and replace them with battery tools.
Mhm.
Just so it'd be a lot nicer not to have gas cans inside the
Mhm.
trucks, and have maybe the chainsaws, the gas powered chainsaws be on the shelf. If we have a big ice storm, we could pull them out then. But just for light duty work, I think battery tools will be sufficient. That would save us a generator and gas cans and stuff on the fire truck. So I would need power inverters to do that so I can charge back the cordless tool batteries.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Lenny, I think when it comes time to make that transition,
yep,
that that sounds like a good project for capital planning committee.
yeah.
So since it's kind
I
of a
think I
one-time,
could sneak, in a way, I think I can just sneak it into the maintenance budget and equipment budget and
okay,
be done with it.
okay,
So,
it's not a significant, yeah,
uh, not entirely.
okay, got
Rome wasn't built in a day, so I'd kind
it.
of go in the same approach here.
Yeah, okay. Um, so I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking is maybe um just to sort of throw an alternative proposal here. What if we level funded training wages to 27,000, again with an understanding that we may see you at some point next year with a finance committee transfer request. Uh, and then, maybe boosted your call wages to like 21,000, something like that. And
Okay.
then maybe increased your maintenance line to, I don't know, something like 18,000, which is not a significant change, but it's at least a little bit
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
flexibility. Do those sound like?
I think that sounds good. Maintenance is a tricky one because if nothing breaks and
Right.
all I have to do is service,
Mhm.
there could be a lot of money still on the table that I could just leave to the town too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's fine. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm kind of overreacting to, you know, 2 years now in a row where you've had kind of significant issues that you've had to deal with in terms of maintenance. But um, we could always, if that turns out to be the case, we could always
Yeah.
sort of
Okay.
return that number to something lower in in a following
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good.
Any other thoughts from the FinCom about some of those suggestions?
Sure. What would that bring the bottom line to?
All
Are
right,
you
let's see.
trying to
So
keep that the same?
Yeah, so we said 27. So this thing is a PDF right now, so I'm gonna have to just do the math here. Um,
Do you want me to resubmit this?
I think once we wrap up this discussion, I think if you are on board with some of these suggestions, then I would recommend, yeah, just plugging in some of these new numbers and then
Okay.
resubmitting that, just so we have we'll have a record of it in the minutes, but it's nice to have
Yeah.
a clean form. So I think we said right,
Operating is the same.
yeah, 8,100 for operating,
Maintenance.
18,000 for
Maintenance.
Equipment
maintenance. Okay,
and
we'll level
18.8 for
fund. Yeah, we'll level fund equipment at 18.8, then 27,000 for
training.
wages, and then
You said
20
21.
yeah,
Yeah.
21,000 for call wages. That would bring us to,
7,000.
wait, is that, I think I did something wrong here. Is that, I got 92,900, is that right? Let's see, did I do the math right?
Increasing.
I have 76,700. Does that look right?
Too
I think
low.
you're missing a line there. So I have a 92,900. So
So that, what did you have maintenance as? 18?
I had it at 18,000.
Okay, 1827. So that's
So
16.
it's essentially
Level funded.
level funding the budget with just a slight increase on maintenance. Why is that? I feel like we should be something's not adding up.
I have 92,900.
Yeah, 92,900. I feel
Okay.
like we've added more than $500. So why?
I'll double.
Oh, you know why? Because the FY26 total includes the emergency management, which is actually a separate
Right.
budget line altogether. So let me just make sure that's right.
And does that sound doable for you, Lenny? Because it's really asking you to do a level
Yes.
fund.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's something I can do.
All right. So the total for FY26 for everything, not including the emergency management director stipend, is 89,404.
89. What was it again?
404
For FY26.
for FY26, right? So this budget for FY27 is an increase of $3,496, which is basically a 3.9% increase
Yeah.
over FY26.
Yeah, I think I can do that.
Okay. All right. So if you wouldn't mind just resubmitting this with those new values for those three lines that we've altered from here, and resubmit that would be great. And we'll keep looking at your budget next year at different points in the year and see how we're doing on training and call wages, and see if there's a need to have you come do a transfer request. Susie?
So I think the important message too is you stated that Lenny needs to run the fire department as he needs it
Yes.
to be run, and that it is okay to come to the FinCom for expenditures that are not anticipated. And then we're talking about that for FY26.
Mhm.
And then when we get into passing a budget for FY27, we're hoping these numbers hold. But again, we want the department to be run in a safe and appropriate way. And so
Yeah.
we're prepared to meet some of that if necessary out of the FinCom reserve.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, Lenny, I had one clarifying question, just it'd be helpful for our info. You had quoted a wage that we pay for training and for call wages. Was that the same wage, or is there a different wage that we pay for training versus call wages?
No, they're the same,
The same.
but
And what
we
was
do have
that?
a
23.
As of right now, this is what the warrants. We have $23.3 an hour
So
for the firefighters.
$23.03.
And 30 cents.
Oh, and 30 cents. Okay. Got it. And I assume that gets we have the same COLA policy that gets calculated for those wages. Is that right?
Yes, Becky gave me the number, and then
Okay.
Haley gave me another number
Yeah.
from for FY 26.
Okay.
And
Great. I
it's
just
the same
realized I
hourly
never.
wage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did-
training and calls is the same wage, except it is a 3-hour minimum
Right.
for calls.
I just
Yeah.
have you found that to be helpful in recruiting people, having people stay, or
I
how
think
has that worked out?
I think it helps for the people that make most of the calls. I do. Obviously, somebody can't really leave their job when they're working in Amherst or Deerfield. I think it helps some. Like I said, we don't have many people in the department, so it's
Yeah.
I think it helps.
I suppose it's like a two-pronged thing, right? It's there's a question of does it help you recruit um, firefighters, and then does it help the actual response rate for calls? Is that a theory that
I
like
mean,
having a
I
minimum?
think, well, put it this way, if we didn't pay them anything, I don't think some of them would be here at all.
Right.
So I think at the end of the day, it is helpful. It is a pretty expensive hobby as
Mhm.
for being a call firefighter.
Mhm.
So at least, they can get something if they're leaving their job to come to the station.
Mhm.
Um, I think it helps. Did we get too much? It's hard to say right now. With we only have 7 people on the department. Um, when it's hard to tell it because before when we had Mark, we never had to pay Mark Foster, and he was just into it. I mean,
Mhm.
Right.
and now I don't have that. So
Mhm.
he was a pretty big part of having like a response up until he passed away. Um, and obviously we couldn't pay him for calls because of his disability, but he was super helpful. I can think of a number of calls that was just him. And as of, right now, I think last year we had 2 non-responses. One was we're in orange at a fire, so we couldn't respond because everybody's in orange. And then another time nobody was in town. So um, I can think Mark was in town a lot, and he did a number of solo responses.
Mhm.
And I wish we could find somebody like them, like him. That's I don't. It's really hard to really tell exactly one year to the next with firefighters because it's like one of them may have a kid, and all of a sudden that goes out the window. You can't stop what you're doing and
Mhm.
leave an infant on the floor, to go to the fire station.
Mhm.
So, every person's unique on the fire department, and it's kind of hard, and every year is unique, and every year is kind of a challenge. So it's really hard to say one thing is going to make or break everything, but I think it helps.
Yeah.
So
Good.
That makes sense. Good. Okay. Any other questions for Lenny before we cut him loose? Jim.
Yeah, before we leave, we lose Lenny. Lenny, when we met last week going over all this, we talked quite a bit about capital too. And I know tonight we're not going to get into capital. That's not on the agenda. But you did have a nice document that you put together
yeah,
that basically
um,
is more of a planning document for the future
yeah.
needs, capital needs. And I don't know if there's anything you want to share tonight. Just
Um,
briefly, it's not really part of the agenda, but since you have the finance committee,
I don't know how to put it on. Um, I don't know how to put it on, maybe, unless I could email it to one of you people. Um,
Yeah.
um, Is this the up-to-date one?
I mean, AJ, if we do have a little time to go through this, it might be
Yeah,
be helpful.
I think we've got
Okay.
plenty of time tonight. We don't have much on the agenda, so besides
All
that.
right, let me, let's see, do I email it to?
You can email it to fincom@shutesbury.org.
All right, I just sent it.
Okay.
One thing this doesn't happen, this really wasn't on my radar up until last Friday when we got to lower the lake. And I'm now wondering about we might have to have the lake lower by 5 feet, which is actually going to be very difficult to draft water from with the fire trucks. I was looking
Wait,
at other.
could you kind of explain that one more time? I think
The Lake Wyola is a water source, obviously, for the fire department.
Yep.
And I never thought of this up until last Friday. The Office of Dam Safety wants us to lower the lake by 3 feet because of issues at the dam.
5 feet?
And
It's
5 feet,
It's
3 feet,
5 feet total.
Yeah, 5 feet
okay,
total.
so it's 3 feet more than it usually is for this time of year? Is that?
Yes.
Okay, wow.
So that means our standpipe is going to be in the air when we're trying to draft. And I don't know if this is going to be issues. I was talking to the Wendell fire chief, and at some point I would like to think about putting an additional standpipe in just over the border in Wendell for the Lake Wyola region. So I don't know. I haven't really gotten too far with this right now, but that would be another thing to put on my long-term equipment needs here.
Is the Beaver Dam at the bridge, is that impacting it as well?
No, those
No.
are two separate dams, and the Beaver Dam is actually removed. So that was
for now.
dismantled last week. Yes, for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
why don't you walk us through? Yeah, what you
Okay.
got here.
We have our. I should have put a date on this because I had made this a year or two ago. But basically, our rescue that goes on every medical and motor vehicle accident. It's a pretty new truck, and I think it's got another not 15 years from now, but it's 10 plus years easily. Engine one, it's our newer engine. It's a 2016. It can be used as an engine or a tanker, and we take it pretty much to any fire we go to, and that engine's over $1 million replacement. And that's a 15. I think it should be good for another 15 years. Engine two is kind of the one I would like to replace. That's a primary engine. It's a little bit smaller than our engine one, so it can get in. That's kind of like our first response because it can get up right. It can basically go up anybody's driveway. It's a little bit smaller. And I'm got a couple quotes in the 700 to 850 range for them, and I would like to. That's the one I would like to get going on replacing in the next couple years. And then I'm looking at brush one and brush two. Brush one was the old rescue truck, and it's a 91, and it does start hard. It would be nice to get a new brush truck at some point. I was thinking after the engine because the engine's I think the engine to me is more important than the brush truck. Though the cost will be substantially less. It's basically an F450 body, and we can put the skid unit with the pump on it on the new truck. So we don't really have to buy we just need to buy the pickup truck and frame and without a bed and put the bed from our old brush truck on the new truck. So We're just buying an actual F-550 or something.
Mhm.
And we got brush 2. It's the Army truck. That's the one that's it works good when it's working. It's problematic a lot of times. It's not easy to run. Half of me would like just to possibly get a little bit bigger of a brush truck and just have one brush truck instead of 2. But most of the firefighters don't want to see that happen. So I'm kind of in the thinking phase on that. So
Mhm.
I got the Chief's car. That's the one I drive pretty much every day. That's almost brand new, so I think it should be good for 15 years.
Mhm.
Our SCBAs, we got, I should have put the date when we bought them on that. SCBAs are supposed to be replaced every 15 years, though some departments have them a little longer than that. That's kind of a big ticket item coming up in a few years.
Mhm.
So we have 9 air packs total at $7,000 a piece. That would be definitely a
Is that the equipment that at one point we had this idea
the
of
SCB,
kind of contributing to
the
it every
bottles.
year? Yeah.
So the bottles are separate. That they're
Ah, I
used
see.
with the SCBAs, but they're separate.
I see.
So that's the bottles go on the SCBAs,
Okay, got it.
and those also have a 15-year lifespan. But you know how I said several years ago that we're just buying bottles that we quite not need right now?
Mhm.
So we do have a fair amount of them. So the first batch with 15 years, we still have a bunch to be serviceable.
Mhm.
We still have a
Right.
bunch that we can still put on the truck. So I'm not that worried about the SCBA bottles.
Mhm.
The SCBA compressor, this is one that's pretty expensive, but it could, it's a pretty old compressor. It's mid 90s, but it doesn't have many hours on it. So it's kind of hard to say when it's gonna go down or when it could be good for another 10 years.
Mhm.
I get it serviced once a year, and I submit the air quality, and that gets tested once a year, and it seems to be okay. So, um, and then I also have the bottom here is a 30,000-gallon water tank I would like at the school. Right now,
Mhm.
the elementary school has basically no water to put a fire out there. So basically, whatever we show up with a fire truck, that's the water we have. It would be nice to have a cistern in the ground near the elementary school that one truck could pull up to and spray water for a good 30 minutes. So if that might have a chance to put the fire out. Um, so probably right below that, it would be nice to add another standpipe in the Lake Wyola region. And I was going to talk to a couple contractors to see how much they cost,
Mhm.
but I don't know if the highway department can do it, or it might be easier just to have a contractor do it. But I know I don't, I haven't really been around when the ones in town were put in. So I'm not really quite too familiar with it, but I do know it's basically just a plastic pipe going out to the middle of the pond and a pipe coming up right by the road that with a fitting on it. So I don't know the cost on those. Probably you're looking at probably 2 to 3 thousand in materials, and probably double that for labor if we were to hire an outside contractor. And if a highway department could do it, it would probably just be materials. So
Okay. All
yeah,
right.
that's the stuff on my radar basically.
Well, this is a great planning document, super helpful. So it sounds like the smaller engine is in the immediate term is the project that we're likely to see in the next
Yes.
year or two. Is that right? Mhm.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's helpful. Do you think you'll be submitting a request to capital planning this year, or are you thinking next year maybe?
Um, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm usually behind on a lot of stuff, so I might not get to it this year.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, the engine's a 97,
Mhm.
so it would be coming up 30 years pretty quick. So
Yeah.
I think 30 years for a fire truck, it doesn't owe us anything. I
Mhm.
did get a quote for rebuilding it because I know several people really want it rebuilt to save money. And the quote that I got was $390,000. And that essentially doesn't change. It's the same engine, transmission, and wiring harness. So, and drivetrain. So I'm like, man, we're getting the same truck back except new lights and a new paint job for
Mhm.
almost $400,000. I just kind of felt that was good money after bad.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, because
Yeah.
I know people still ask about it. So,
Yeah. Well, that, I mean, it would be good to share that information with capital planning when you're
yeah.
ready to submit this. Yeah.
Yeah, I never really met with capital planning, honestly. I mean,
Mhm.
I've met with you guys every year. I haven't really, I don't know if I maybe missed one of their meetings or they've just never invited
No,
me or,
so the process, I mean, if unless you submit a request to them and there's a form that gets filled out, a capital request form. Unless you submit a request, they're not going to invite you
okay,
to a meeting.
yeah,
But if you do, then they'll invite you to a meeting, and it's, it'll be to your benefit to have as much of the sort of documentation, the quotes, the rationale kind of sort of mapped out for them.
yeah,
That's the kind of
okay.
information that they'll talk.
I did give this to Ellen McKay several times.
Okay.
At least I think I did,
Yeah.
or at least I remember I did.
I mean, I used
So,
to be part of the capital planning committee, and I remember hearing about this. So yeah, I
yeah,
think it's sort of on their general radar, but there's a difference between that and then actually having, um, a request in hand. So yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we did see this list in capital planning. I mean, and I think one of the, I mean, just thoughts that came up with us, I mean, in terms of the fire truck is, it sounds like, I mean, it's taking a long time right now for fire trucks to be built and, whether we need to get that in queue, also.
yeah. The salesman that I just recently talked to, he said like we could get it in like 4 to 5 months.
Okay.
So I'm not really asking for anything custom. If you want a custom fire truck, you can be out a year. If you can get something a little more close to a stock standard fire truck, you can save a little more money and they're more available. Um, I don't really need all the bells and whistles. I think something stock, and I'm not really too thrilled with the total everything being custom on it. I don't think it's all that much helpful, honestly. So
Okay, good to know.
AJ, just
Yeah.
from my understanding, so capital
Jim.
planning, the capital planning committee, they only look at the capital requirements for the upcoming year, for that subsequent year. They're not looking
Yeah.
beyond that for planning purposes, or long-term planning purposes. They're not really.
We're working on building a better long-term planning process.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
And I think looking at Lenny's document here, this is when we get into the role of looking at capital stabilization and what to allocate towards capital stabilization to help dampen out the year-to-year blips somewhat, impact on town and the town taxes. This kind of a document can be really helpful. In
Yeah.
combination with what you're talking about, Laura, with looking at a longer term plan.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think that is one of the things we ought to, I think, discuss this year is looking at the contribution that we include in the operating budget for capital stabilization. And, I think it's been a long time since we've looked at what we're contributing. And of course, we have an amount, but then, we subtract from that any debt service we're actually responsible for in that budget year. And so I think one of the questions is do we need to actually start to make a more significant contribution to the capital stabilization account in anticipation of some really big ticket items like a fire truck, a fire engine, and I think if I remember correctly, the highway department has a big ticket item coming up in the near future. So, and this whole thing with Pelham, I think has gotten me thinking about this as well. If you'll recall from our last meeting, they've been putting aside money every year. I mean, their goal really is to not utilize to not rely on borrowing for their big capital projects, and so that's how they're dealing with the school roof. And that might be a little bit of an extreme sort of strategy, but I don't know. But it has gotten me thinking that maybe we should be putting away more in our capital stabilization. I think it's been a few years now where we haven't had like a big ticket item, like and obviously outside of the new library building. But so yeah.
You might not have to go to the extreme, AJ, that like a Pelham, but still, maybe some level of additional capital stabilization in line with some level of borrowing.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I'll ask a question after Susie.
Okay. Susie?
Two things. One is that our number has stayed fixed while inflation has gone on. So clearly you could just rationalize that we need to have more in our capital stabilization because the items we're buying are more expensive and the loans are bigger. The other piece I'm wondering is perhaps Lenny should submit the request for a new engine 2 this year so that the capital planning begins to wrestle with it. Because it may not take an extra long time to turn around the order, but people gathering the information and understanding what's needed might take some time. So I wonder if he should submit it for this year's capital plan.
Okay. One question on say if I did the fire truck in 5 years from now, would it be possible to have like a 50,000 a year fund for like 5 years going right to the fire truck? Is that something doable? Because like the library was doing that for for some money for a number of years. So would this be something doable or?
Well, I mean, that's essentially what I'm talking about
yeah, totally.
It wouldn't be earmarked specifically for fire department, but it would be, but we have a line in our operating budget, which is literally written as transfer to capital stabilization. And for Susie might have a better understanding for how long I think we've been doing it for at least 5-6 years. We have an amount which is basically $113,000 that we contribute from the operating budget to our capital stabilization account. But there's an important caveat, which is that we only transfer $113,000 when in a year where we're not incurring any debt service for any projects in that year. What we do is we essentially subtract any debt service that we're paying in a given year from that amount of $113,000. And so I'm looking at the budget. So in FY24, we only contributed $54,000 to capital stabilization because we, had roughly $70,000 in debt service that we paid in that year. In FY25, we only contributed $86,000 to capital stabilization. And in FY26, with the library debt service coming into play, we actually didn't contribute anything to capital stabilization. So that policy, I think, is something that we need to revisit and think about whether we want to, whether that's the right amount, but also just the concept of basically offsetting that contribution with, with whatever debt service we're paying in that given year. Susie.
But I think that Lenny offered yet another model, and
Mhm.
it would be, and who all thinks about this, would be that the town would contribute a earmarked fund to a fire truck at a certain amount, like he said, the library did, and that money
Yeah.
came out of, that money came out of, well, originally it got put into the operating budget.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
It's
I don't remember though
$25,000.
if we put any free cash against it, but so this is another model. It's another piece of model, and there are probably pros and cons, and there may be people who are more supportive of a
Mhm.
specific earmarked fire truck fund, and that would be another way to sort of approach the public. So I think we probably need to consider different concepts, but I do think the first
Mhm.
step is for it to go, the proposal to go to the capital planning, so we begin to
Yeah.
wrestle with it.
Yeah. So I think that strategy for Susie and Lenny, that doesn't work for the kind of capital project where it's a short term, like you need it soon, because the whole concept is that like maybe the newer the engine one, where you think you've got somewhere 10 to 15 years of life on that vehicle, that might be an appropriate strategy where you're sort of building a fund, we're contributing a certain amount of it every year, and then by the time you get to the point where that current truck is ready to be turned over, you've got a substantial fund. It wouldn't help you for engine two, because you're going to need to replace that, it sounds like, in the next year or two. And so, the idea of building a fund it's not going to happen in one year or something.
Well,
like
I
that.
was thinking if it could not, if the fund got up to $100,000,
Yeah.
then it turns a 750
Yeah,
fire truck into a 650 fire
sure,
truck.
sure. And just to give everybody the background, I think through FY22, we would contribute every year $25,000 from the operating budget to a new library building fund. And I do think in one year, Susie, because of kind of COVID related sort of financial concerns, in that one year we used cash reserves to fund that. But typically what we had been doing was actually just using tax levy to fund that line every year. April.
Yeah, I wonder if there would be a way of taking, once we have our certified free cash, designating a certain percent of that to go into capital stabilization on an annual basis. And I'm not sure if that would need a 2/3 majority vote from the town to do that. But just to have it, so when we get our free cash certified, a percent of that goes right into capital stabilization.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a thought. Yeah, these are good topics for us to consider this year.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Lenny?
Thanks.
All right, Lenny, really appreciate all the preparation.
Okay, thank you.
And also the flexibility on some of these new numbers we proposed. But I think the message was heard loud and clear. Just, none of this should impact the important decisions you're making about how you run the department. It's just a matter of, how we budget for things.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Thanks, Lenny. Good meeting with you last week.
Oh yeah, yeah. Come back again for another tour if you want.
Okay, we'll do.
Yep. All right, take care. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Lenny. Okay, so I think as everybody saw from my email, the highway department needed to postpone, not just for the weather, but that I think was a big issue. But I think that email George sent me yesterday was that there were also a couple of budget related sort of decisions or that Dave was still needing to kind of think through. So one of the things we'll have to do, maybe we want to just jump to that right now, is think about where to slot him in. So I'm going to pull up the schedule. And actually, one thing, just a housekeeping thing, Haley, since the budget for Lenny that I had was a PDF, I can't make any changes to it. So it sounds like he is going to resubmit it to you.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind just replacing when you get it from him, the document in the Google Drive with the the figures that we changed tonight, just because I don't want to lose track of that. Okay, so question is what to do about highway. So I really would like to keep December 30th open if possible, because I know that everybody, that's a big travel time, and I don't even know where I'm going to be myself. I'm wondering if we could do, if we think we can do that, combine it with the elementary school budget review on the 13th.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to slot them in there and let George know. Okay. All right. I think that should cover it. And then I just got the treasurer's budget. I don't think it's actually in the Google Drive yet, so I'll add it. And I believe we have the assessors there. So I think we're all ready for our next one, but let me just confirm that. Yeah, so we've got the assessor's budget in the Google Drive, and the treasurer's budget will be there later as soon as we wrap up tonight. So for the December 16th meeting, those documents should be ready for you guys to review. Okay, that's it on. And then I saw, Susie, that you put or somebody put the elementary school preliminary budget in there as well.
You did that.
I did that. All right.
I sent it to you and you dropped it in because I don't know how to
I
do
didn't
that.
remember doing that. Okay. All right. So let's do some minutes, and then I have an update for you guys on regional school budget stuff. All right, and since George is not here, I'll have to make changes to this Word version. Okay. All right, so this is November 19th. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Right. On this tax rate reconciliation question, did everybody get, George sent an Excel workbook with all his calculations. Did that get sent to everybody? Okay, good. All right. Okay. These look great to me. Does anybody have any questions or suggestions?
There's a correction on page 2, section 7B. There's roughly 680 people there, not 600.
All right.
That's the only offer I have.
Okay. Anybody else have any other corrections or questions? All right. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for November 19th as amended.
Second,
Okay. I think I'm up first tonight. Cashew, aye.
Mosher, aye.
Moss eye.
Soito, I.
Stein abstain.
Walton, I.
Put
All
that in.
right. So I will save this. I'll send it to George. Okay. Haley, I didn't get a chance to follow up with you on whether the select board had a chance to talk about this Four Towns Regional School Working Group thing.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
They are comfortable with you and I representing
Okay.
the town.
Okay, great, perfect. I met with the other members of this data group today, pretty briefly. The update is that John Trickey is going to represent Pelham. Steve Weiss is going to represent Leverett. And Amherst is figuring out what they're going to do because they've got these council members that I think want to participate. I think the message that's going to be sent to them is that this, the collaboration that was discussed at the Four Towns meeting is really a research and sort of study exercise. It's not a decision-making body. And so there will be an opportunity for sort of the larger Four Towns group to, to deliberate on, recommendations and strategies, but that what's really on the table right now is essentially like a kind of a expanded research group that includes the region's fiscal sustainability committee and essentially, one representative from each town, which is our kind of currently constructed data group. The larger Four Towns group is going to meet on Tuesday. I think he should have gotten
I did.
an invite. Great. Okay, so on Tuesday at 2:15. One of the things that's going to complicate this is, I guess, in January every year, Amherst Town Council does their assignments for the year. So it may be like a totally new group of people that they designate to work on with the region on this stuff. But anyway, that's not our problem. Okay. In terms of strategy, like what we're going to do, the data group has started a list of essentially here it is, kind of topic areas that we would sort of propose to kind of work with the fiscal sustainability committee to kind of research. And I'm going to share, I haven't had a chance to do any kind of detailed suggestions on this, but this is kind of where the sort of draft looks like right now.
AJ, could you remind me who
Yeah.
is in the fiscal sustainability group?
So that's the regionals committee, and that's Anna Haird, Deb Leonard,
Okay,
and Bridget Hines.
okay. And so
And
does the
I can't
superintendent,
recall if Tim Shores, like, I think he's been a part of that group, but I think he might have temporarily stepped down. But those are the core members.
and so where does Shannon Bernaccia and the superintendent fit in?
So they're not, I guess, technically part of that group, but I think the idea is we would involve them in this research study group. So the concept was that it would be a joint effort of the fiscal sustainability group, a member of each town who's kind of, interested in data analysis and research, and then key resources, including the finance director for the region, the superintendent, this guy Brian Harvey, who's Lynn Griesmer's partner, who's done a lot of sort of data analysis and collection, and has this massive archive of DESI data that he's been making available to folks. So
Okay.
I think those are the main people now, but I think there was some suggestion that Tim could be one of those kind of resources that we also bring in as well.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, Kathy Schoen, I should say, is the Amherst rep,
So there's like 9 or 10 people altogether.
something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
So I think the thought was that once we actually get to meet as part of this expanded group, that one thought would be to have to kind of be prepared to, with a list of topic areas that we're interested in collaborating with the Fiscal Sustainability Committee to research and analyze. And so this is kind of a preliminary list, but we all said that we would do kind of as our homework, we would sort of add to this and potentially comment on it for our next meeting next week.
So number 2, when it says full analysis of fixed costs, you're talking in the operating budget or just in the education part?
So so just the education part. But I think there's a little bit of a concern that, like, there was sort of good energy coming out of that Four Towns meeting, and then like there hasn't been a lot that's happened since then. So I think everybody sort of had a moment, maybe kind of coming back after Thanksgiving break. Everybody sort of had a moment of like concern. Let's re-engage and get this moving. So I think Lynn and Bob from Pelham are going to reach out to the superintendent and Sarah Bess Kenny to just kind of re-engage on this, make a plan for potentially having, actually pulling these groups together.
And the other thing on number 4, is that including rural aid, which is not exactly Chapter 70, but it's funding?
It should.
It should, yes. It
Yeah.
affects people pretty differently. And
Yeah.
actually there's SOS money, but SOSA, but that's in, I believe that's right in the Chapter 70.
What is SOSA?
Student Opportunity Act.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think that's somehow written right in Chapter 70, but rural aid is separate.
Okay. Yep. And the rural aid funds, actually, they get awarded directly to the school, right? They don't come through
Yep.
the cherry sheet. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, April.
I was just wondering, is there going to be any analysis of how charter schools are impacting? Like
Yeah.
if we could get more of a sense of who's attending the schools.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's good.
Why?
Yeah. Right. Do we even talk to people who make this? Has anybody actually kind of gone through the exercise of talking, interviewing families that have made that choice and say, kind of, what drove that decision? Be an interesting project.
And I guess for that same area, you might have more analysis of choice, school choice, because
Mhm.
something like Pelham is totally
Yes.
dependent on that. So it'd be charter and choice.
Well, I'm also curious how the impact it's going to be. Well, actually, that's not really relevant. The sixth graders in Amherst joining the middle school. I mean, that does shift the culture there
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
the middle school.
Which I understand from the news has gotten very complicated all of a sudden. Like I think there was some desire to reconsider that maybe on the part of a couple of, or revisit that decision, but kind of late to be doing it. And yeah, I don't know. Isn't that supposed to begin in September 26th? Yeah. Yeah, I think I read at the last regional school committee, some members raised a desire to revisit that decision. Not necessarily, they weren't like saying we should not do that, but they wanted to kind of have a discussion about it. So, yeah. All right. Okay. So, I think there'll be more news on this at our next meeting. So I think this list is going to get cleaned up. You guys have given me some suggestions here. If you have other ones you want to make sure get sort of put on this list, by all means, email me, and then I will. The other members of the group are also commenting on this, and so there'll be a new version of this, and I'll share that with everybody as soon as I have it. Okay. All right. That's pretty much all I had for tonight. Does anybody else have any topics to discuss? Susie.
We have two. One is Laura and I have talked, and she has done the main drafting of the article that we need to have the FinCom understand, because this is the last meeting before the middle of the month when we want to release it.
Great. Do you have a draft or something that you want us to
Laura,
look
do
at?
you have the draft to put up?
Well, I didn't have it open, but I can grab it.
Okay.
All right. And while we're waiting on that, Jim, I see your hand up.
Yeah, just a question for maybe future meeting agenda topic, and that is, and I think of this had done this in the past, reviewing how we're doing performance, spending versus
Yes.
budget.
You're right.
Is-
We haven't done an expense report review in a while. Yeah.
Okay,
I'd
so is
like
that
to suggest again that we have just one or two people look at it and highlight it, rather
Mhm.
than us all sit at a meeting and sort of scroll through it then. I think that would be easier for me.
Yeah. Yes, maybe we should try doing that. I know it's come up as a suggestion before. So are there two members that would volunteer to, and let's be clear about what these folks would be doing. They would be looking at in the lead up to a FinCom meeting, they would be looking at the most recent expense report, and would be reviewing our sort of status of spending on various lines and would be highlighting any significant, any lines that are significantly underspent or overspent given where we are in the year. And would be bringing those lines to everyone's attention and potentially looking for explanations, maybe from Haley, or we might say we need to talk to so-and-so to investigate why this line is, being spent at this rate. So are there a couple members that would be willing to do that and interested in doing that?
Yeah, I guess I mean, maybe
Yeah.
as member, I'm not clear, because I think all of us as finance committee members, we might all see things ourselves that either, that stand out or we have question or think about. So I guess I'd be cautious about limiting, us looking at these and just the two of us or some select number. I guess I'm just not clear.
Yeah. I think
we all will have access, right, to these
Yeah.
reports, and
so they're all
I would think
posted.
all of us should have the opportunity to have, to review and look.
Yeah.
And if we have a comment, we can use that time during the meeting to
100%.
probe.
So to be clear, all of the expense reports are now, for at least for the last year, I think, have been posted on the website. So they're available for any the whole members of the public, including FinCom members. So at any point, you can pull down the most recent expense report, look at it, spend as much time as you want on it. I think the thought is that we had, like in years past, we had built into our agenda periodically a time for the committee to look at the expense report as a large group. And I think some members felt like it wasn't a great use of time. What would often happen is that, like, we would basically spend, 15 minutes or so during a busy meeting, just kind of scrolling through this form together, and like on the spot. Like, I don't think there was a good practice of people spending time reviewing them in advance of the meeting. So the suggestion was, well, maybe if a couple of members sort of took on the responsibility to actually do, a more meaningful scan of those in advance of the meeting and bring to the attention of the full committee any any interesting takeaways from that review. But again, that wouldn't preclude all members, from reviewing and raising other issues. Does that clarify, Jim?
Yeah, I think so. I guess maybe another way. I'm just thinking through what the concern is, and I think I hear your concern, and maybe other way. Maybe just have a standing agenda item, and if no one has anything, if no one has gone through or has gone through and doesn't have any questions, we just move on to the next agenda item. And if somebody does have something that they have done their homework on, say, I want to drill into this more, then we start drilling into it.
Right.
As opposed,
yeah.
I mean, it just seems to me this is something that's all the finance committee. This is our budget, and this is we're all concerned about spending. And
yeah, no, I get it. Susie?
But the reality was, especially last year, as things started rocketing forward, we blew it off over and over and did not look at those numbers very much at all. I think from probably December on. So what I'm hoping is that somebody takes the responsibility and looks at the numbers and brings our attention to it. And certainly we can look beyond what they're pointing out. But it's like tonight, Laura and I are going to make you all responsible for editing this document with us, to paying attention to this. And she and I are taking that responsibility to bring up these. So I feel like if we don't assign it to somebody, or
Right.
to somebody's, we will easily get overwhelmed and not get back to it because we have that track record.
Yeah. So yeah, I think maybe that's I might not have framed it in the best way. So I think the thought is, Jim, is that we would include it as not a standing item necessarily at every meeting, but maybe every other meeting or something like that. We would have an item on the agenda for expense report review, and what this would kind of what we would be assured of is that there would be at least, two members that had an opportunity to review it in advance. The expectation is that they would they would bring items of concern to the full committee, but that we all would be encouraged to do, to take a look at those beforehand and bring any questions or concerns. But at least this would, given that two people would have like a specific responsibility to do it, that would ensure that it actually gets done. Haley?
I was just thinking like logistically,
Mhm.
it would be helpful if people had questions, if I could get them in advance, especially
Yeah.
where I'm usually zooming from home and I don't have like all my office stuff. I don't want to have to say like, oh, let me check on that. That's not helpful for
Oh, I see.
everyone
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
But maybe one thing, I could bring to meetings is to take that expense report and maybe just pull out some highlights. You could
Yeah.
do like a one pager, and then that is, that way you could put eyes on it. And maybe
Yeah, I think that would
kinda
be
help.
great, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haley, can you describe that a little more, what you're proposing?
Oh, so
Yeah.
I was just thinking something along the lines of, take the expense report, and maybe if we had like a really big bill, if we had like a maintenance issue with one of the DPW equipments, that's something that I would bring forward. If there's like a difference in spending that's over maybe a certain percentage, and just kind of pull out some things. And of course you can go through it at your leisure, but that way you could just get like a snapshot of what the big highlights were, or if nothing was different in
Yeah.
a given time period.
I think that would be very beneficial or
Yeah.
productive Yeah, what Haley is proposing.
I agree.
Yeah.
So maybe we can put that on our next agenda and maybe do that like every other FinCom meeting. That'd be great. But again, that doesn't preclude members from, at any point pulling up, the expense report and bringing their own questions, that may overlap with things that Haley's going to talk about, but maybe might be separate issues altogether.
Yeah, I guguess that's news to me, AJ, what you mentioned. You said was it the FinCom website or
So I'll tell you exactly.
No.
It's it goes to, I think it's under budget information. That is under, I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, so under town governance is the main heading on the Shutesbury website. Then there's budget and expenses as a sub
Okay.
item. And then you'll see there a long list of expense reports that,
Okay.
yeah.
And the ones that are called details are to satisfy citizens that want to see exact expenditures, and it's quite elaborate. You can look at the
Yeah.
other one that's just like regular.
Yeah. So
I guess I've been slacking. I didn't realize we had all this stuff out there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, it's been a good change. I think we've been doing
Yeah.
it for a year now. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, just to reinforce Susie's point, you're really going to want to look at the documents that have the word expenses in it and a date. It'll say through November 30th, not the one that says details. That the details, what that includes is literally the vendor payments. So it's not just like this much spent on this line, but it's like spent this amount to this vendor. So that's a level of detail that's probably not particularly helpful for this exercise.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Yep. All right. So I think we have a plan there. Sorry, just Okay, so Laura and Susie, you want to kind of talk? We'll take a look at this document.
So we decided that the December one is going to be about context and challenges.
Mhm.
So that the people who are not following the bouncing ball every moment would understand where the planning, some of the context and challenges that this plan FY27 will be planning.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, reminding people that we're doing a series,
Mhm.
kind of reiterating, I mean, I think, the challenges that we've brought up in like many of these meetings around, inflation,
Yes.
rising costs, and the flat state aid. Um, Pulling out some specific examples of things that we know are impacting us right now.
Mhm. I'm wondering if on your list of factors driving this year's constraints, is there, would like our health insurance increases? Oh yeah, that's there. Okay, so that's under personnel costs. Okay.
I mean, I could pull it out separate if we wanted to do that, but it's
No, it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's there, but I don't know. I'm of two minds. I mean, it is such a significant factor. Maybe it deserves its own line.
Are you talking the insurance? Is that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, that is really a big piece, right? That
yeah,
is- yeah.
To put the word steep in front of health insurance
yeah.
increases.
Yes, yeah.
And do we want to add anything about the rising cost of education?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not sure how you would.
I think that rising cost is due to mostly wages and health insurance.
And
There is like out of district placements, but I don't think that should be in this one.
no,
Um,
no.
One of the things I like about Laura's style is that it's not too much.
Yes.
It's not too much to read.
No, yeah, this is
so
very accessible, understandable.
right. And Laura, did you decide about the graph?
yeah. So I mean, AJ, I mean, you used that graph in the four-town meeting of just kind of showing that example of how like the property rate tax has gone up like this while the state aid has gone
Yeah.
flat. I mean, including that graph, I mean, in here might be nice. I mean, either for
Sure.
Shutesbury alone or for four towns. I mean, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what state you have it in, but
Yep.
The context of the four towns all facing the same thing, I think, is a good message to reiterate just in the graph. It doesn't have to be a long narrative. But I think that is a graphic that has some weight. And this particular one, I think we're now at about 2/3 of a page, Laura. I can't remember.
yeah,
Yeah, so the graph could fit in there, maybe someplace.
I put it right here.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and
Um,
then we would have, and so she mentioned the postcards and the meetings and the connecting, and she even has the link to sign up on the town announce list. So hopefully we're getting people to see how they can know more before town meeting.
Yeah, so kind of assurance that we have a plan. I mean, kind of additional things that people can do. And just kind of, I mean, I think that encouragement to, kind of continue to follow this so that we're prepared for town meeting.
Yeah.
I really like
No.
your format, Laura. I think two things might bolster it. If you can add percentages, I think when people read this, they don't have any context. Like, but if I read that and I saw, oh, health insurance went up 40%, that's something that I think you can wrap your head around. Or like if we pay $40,000 a quarter on PFAS testing, that helps people give like context. And then my only other thing would be, I think it's worth it to give a definition for excess levy capacity. Because I think if we're trying to reach people who don't know, or who are in the loop, they might not know what that means. And usually people, they have short attention spans.
It's always, that's a hard one to find,
Yeah.
like,
Concise definition.
yes.
So maybe just use reserves because people will understand that, I think, more than, because even for me, sometimes excess levy is tough.
But it does occur to me that that might be another, like, I'm sure there's no shortage of topics for you guys and these newsletters, but like the whole 2.5, like for dummies kind of write up might actually be a useful.
Yeah, I think in the spring, I mean, kind of closer to town meeting, because we don't want people to,
Yeah.
see it now and totally forget. So like maybe
Yeah.
March or so. I mean, I think we had kind of proposed one that's kind of like deciphering the like weird things that you see in
Yes.
budget and you might not know what they are. So things like
Yeah.
OPEDs, the excess levy capacity,
Right.
the capital stuff, stabilization.
Right,
Ex-
because one is going to be called tools, and another one is going to be called about dealing with mystery concepts. I can't find my list of the schedule, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I don't think it's necessary. If you did feel like you needed to explain something about excess levy capacity, I think the essential point is just that there's an amount the town is legally able to collect in property taxes every year, and excess levy capacity is the difference between that legally allowed amount and what we're actually collecting.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so we have on January 13th, we're going to do one, the January 13th meeting, we're going to review the one that's elements in the toolbox.
okay.
And later, yeah, that's where we would come into revenue more, because that's the toolbox we have.
Yeah.
Later, there's one called on March 10th, explaining mystery expense lines.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
I think that we probably and we'll be bringing the draft to you, but I think it's okay to mention excess levy capacity here, or we can leave it out and just bring it up on January 13th, the January dispatch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see any problem in having, just getting that into our language.
Yeah.
We don't have to define it here.
Right,
And it's very different than reserves.
right.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things, I guess, if we put it here and then say we'll talk more about these in January, then if somebody's
Yeah.
curious about that, then
Right.
we can hit it
Yep.
several times.
Right. But
Uh,
thank you for doing this.
I think
both
this
of
is
you.
great.
Yeah,
And there was so much talk at the department heads meeting about the need to not just like the need to share this information with the public and get them educated on these challenges. And I think this does a very good job of summarizing what we essentially
So
talked
maybe
through.
after health insurance, we could put in parentheses 43% with an exclamation mark, and just
Yeah.
that would be a factoid.
Yeah.
It emphasizes health
Right.
insurance cost, and then just go on from there.
so right now this is just going out on town announce, is that right? And
Well, it also goes in the school newsletter. They accepted that idea.
okay,
And I went to talk to the school, the PTO, and brought this specific thing. So it's like a tool we can carry around. And we are talking about trying to get in the front of more social groups in Shutesbury. So
Laura, I think you need a chart from me, right? So
Yeah, you could give me that and then I can
so
find
was
the,
this, just so I'm clear, was this the chart that showed the average single family tax bill for Shutesbury over, I think it was like a 20-year period?
yeah, I mean, it has the one line that shows the property tax and then the other line that shows the state aid.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Got it.
but you were looking at the one that had it for 4 towns, right,
Yeah, so
Laura?
that-
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's, okay. So I'm going to pull that one up. Okay. So I'll send that to you when we
Okay.
wrap up. I think this is awesome. I'm really glad we're doing this. Any other suggestions?
Do you have a PFAS cost that we can,
Yeah,
or Haley, would you be able to?
it's about 40,000 a quarter. And I could get you a more precise number tomorrow when I see Gail.
Okay.
And
Like a date.
Haley, is that for both testing and then the filter, whatever replacements, and or no, is it just
Yeah, those are bundled in.
And the contract, right,
okay?
Yes.
with Tig and Bond.
Actually, that's good to have a quarterly. I feel like that's the first time I've heard us talk about
Yeah,
quarterly expense.
we do need to have PFAS on one agenda because Brennan did the analysis of where the costs were coming from, and we do know that it moved from quarterly to half year, so we're expecting some things to be different. So I we have to work on those numbers and look at them.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, I think if you two get me that stuff, I mean, we can put that in. And I mean,
Mhm.
Susie, do you want to send it out again?
Well, I think we can approve it tonight. We
Yeah.
know how it's gonna look, and then we're guessing that it's gonna be on the website probably on the 15th. And we also put it on our town webpage. Town webpage, blah, blah, blah.
All right, great. Laura, what I'm going to send you is the whole PowerPoint, but just you can go right to slide number 4 is the one you're looking for.
Okay.
All right. I don't think we need to vote on this. So
Do we need to vote? I can't remember if we voted.
I don't think so.
No,
You want to? That feels like, well, whatever folks think.
I don't think we voted last time,
Yeah.
actually.
From my perspective, I think all the committee needs is the opportunity to sort of comment and share any sort of feedback, but it's not like to approve. Yeah,
Right.
that's my
Yeah.
thought.
yeah, that's
My
fine.
feedback is it looks great. Looks
Yeah.
really nice. Excellent document.
Mhm. Great.
Okay, so I'm sending this to you right now, Laura.
The one other item I have is the school budget's up in the docs. And I guess we need to structure questions and answers. I seem to be losing papers here. But I think they are in late January.
Mhm.
So we want to get questions to them. And these are hard things to sort your way through. So I think we would have to have it as an agenda item that we sit and having already looked at the school budget, figure out if we have any questions or directions we need to. They wanted to make sure that we understood the document that's on our Google Docs
Yeah.
is what it takes to run the school. They
Mhm.
know with an out of district placement situation, it's coming in at 6.32 increase. They are going to take it back and say, this would be the way we want to run the school, but we know that we have to reduce it, and they're going to work on reducing it.
Mhm.
But I do think people need to look it over and maybe have an agenda item to generate any questions.
Yeah, and so the idea is that we would share a list of questions in advance of January 13th or after. Okay, yeah. All right. So everybody should review the school budget document that's in the Google Drive. And maybe on the 16th, we'll take a few minutes to just talk through any questions that we want to make sure we cover at that January 13th meeting. Okay. Anything else? All right. So I'll make a motion to adjourn FinCom at 8:12.
Second,
Okay. Cashew, aye.
Mosier, aye.
Moss eye.
Toito, aye.
Stein, aye.
Walton, I.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
All righty.
Thank you.
Right.
Take
You all
care.
have, you all have a good evening.
Yep.
That's the plan.
Bye.